YouTube is really too fun, but it's for our own enjoyment.
3, 2,
Fun!
Oh, I love it when we do it at the same time.
So crazy. Hello, Fatties. How are we? My name is Tayris.
Hello, babes. My name is Daphne, and we're back on the gang.
Gang! Because we might still have gigs, but we still got the gang. How are you, love?
I'm gorgeous. I'm very excited for this new little project. How are you?
We had a afternoon getting our Jar Jar fabric up at the back. There's a video coming for people listening at home on the podcast.
That was fucking craft week and a half.
Yeah,
doesn't have the same ring to it.
It was falling apart. But how are you? How's your week been?
It's been gorgeous. It's been lovely. I'm very excited to be back again. I've gained all of my weight on my titanas. And I'm ready to go. Look, she's peeking out already.
The camera's shaking. Work. And also, so I want to get straight into it because you started telling me a story earlier, Daphne, that I'd never heard before, and I'm just really intrigued by it. So tell me about your life as a Findom.
Okay, so when I was a very bored, lonely teenager, well, not teenager, I was of age.
You're still young at heart.
Still young at heart, girl.
Picking people up at the Kids' Choice Awards.
To get out a lot of like angst and frustration, I'm trying to figure out how I can word this in like the most like PC way. Not PC.
Also, your mum's probably going to watch this, isn't she? Come on, Kim.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if I want to tell this story. But basically, okay, long story short, guys who like being humiliated for money, me bored on my laptop, first time getting 150 quid just for a 5-minute conversation.
Come on, booking fee.
I know. There was one time. So basically, if you don't know what Findom is, it's financial domination.
Work.
And you basically just like slag them off, piss them off, just try and like do anything to like get them feeling like as shit as about themselves as possible.
I've been doing that to you for free, mama.
And they give you money for it. So where's my fucking dollar?
No, I've been doing that to you. So where's my paycheck, mama?
Anywho.
I haven't got it. Did you ever say hi to Sugar Daddy?
Did you?
Yeah, oh my god. We're learning so much. We saved all these
See,
goodies.
I worked for my one.
I also, mama.
By work, I meant work.
Yeah, I hate work. I hate she's finger waggling for those at home. No, so basically, I used to work at this straight club in Eastbourne called Cameo. Woof. If you didn't know, I'm from Eastbourne, land of Angus Thongs, Perfect Snogging, Undateables. You've seen it.
Which she has not seen until the other day.
I was going to say, you forced me to watch it. I haven't seen it.
And wasn't it gorgeous and wholesome and lovely? The soundtrack
it was pleasant,
is lovely.
I mean, I'm not going to watch again unless you're real girl. But it's alright.
Didn't you all live for the beginning?
Oh, sickening,
Did you get it? Because she was in our costume.
Catch Daphne at the Hardy Ha.
No, just down the road.
No, so basically, me and my friend Libby, we'd just gone to see Miranda Sings live. Which was my first concert.
Stop!
Yeah, so we were at second year college, so I was 18. We'd gone to see
Can you count that as a concert?
an hour, she popped off. So we'd been to Cadogan Hall in London, on our train back. And there was this man who was sat across from us, he was really fit. And also, to be very clear, like, he was young. Like, I was 18 and he was, how am I now? He was 26. But then, so we were just like a pleasant chat over the little tabletop. And a few weeks later, Libby, Eric and I, who I'm sure you'll hear more about on the podcast at some point or another.
If you've not already watched season 1, they're key side characters in many of her stories.
But she was like, we were like, should we go on Seeking Arrangement? And he was there. And basically, he worked for, Gag! Did you hear the intro at the start? I don't know if you put it in. No, so he worked for like 4G, like internet network. And so he had moved from...
What, just the concept of 4G?
Well, like the maintenance and making it function. It's not like the artistic theory behind like 4G. But he moved from Massachusetts to here. And so I started talking to him, and it wouldn't be like he pays for my stuff. It would be like we do stuff together and he would pay for everything. Do you know what I mean? So it's like he just sends me like a cash allowance. But then,
so you just had a nice boyfriend?
Yeah, it wasn't like... Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know, you could call it that, except until... he wanted me to spend New Year's with him, but I was working at this horrid straight club in Eastbourne, and it was so grotty, Cameo, and please don't get me cancelled, as if the Cameo staff, like, Taylor's got an app now.
What is this?
But like, we and also the staff are so sly, myself included, like, if your customer was rude to you, even the managers were like, yeah, thumb it up, you could go find a glass that had chewing gum in it, and take it out, and just give it a quick spray rinse. I was like, here's your drink, whatever, you know, so, yeah, don't be rude.
Sounds like most establishments in Brighton.
Yeah,
to be
tea. I'm like,
honest.
don't be rude to staff. That's the takeaway.
Yeah.
But anywho, so he was like, can you spend New Year's with me? And I was like, no, because I work at a nightclub. There's no way you're getting New Year's off. And he was like, oh, please. And I was like, well, do you know what? Like, I don't need this job. So I literally quit the job. Because also it was like 2 shifts a week and it was weekly pay. So really every paycheck was like 60 quid. So, and because I was on like 18-year-old wage, which is what, like £6 something. Yeah, a penalty. 1 halfpenny, 1 rupee to buy. No, I'm not on season 4 if you didn't know. No, but no.
She's very, very unbitter about that.
Listen, I'm Team Pixie. No, aren't we all? Every Brighton
Brighton Queens.
Shut up.
Never.
No, so I quit my job. And then he was, then end of January, he's moving back to Massachusetts. And I was like, oh shit, like, what do I do? So he gave me like £2,000 to live off. And I just blew through it in like 2 months. Because I'm like, oh, I've got money galore. And I just wasted it all. So then I used to be like a performer, well, I still am in ways.
You used to be. This is just a subtle day to day now.
No, so I used to like try and do musical theatre professionally. And my agent, there's this other person in the agency, and their mum used to work at McDonald's and do the hiring. So I messaged him, I was like, hey Tiff, is there any chance to get a job at McDonald's? And they're like, yeah, it's fine. You have to apply and do like the technical process. But yeah, you can just have the job if you go for it.
And that's how you got McDonald's gig.
Yeah.
Right. Side note, has anyone here ever heard of whatever Minger your mother works in McDonald's? Because I got gaslit the fuck the other day.
It's not gaslit.
What is this? I've never heard of this before. Clearly you've never been to a
Hassocks,
British...
yeah.
Also, to a primary school in Hassocks, ready to get beaten the shit out of, and that was your only comeback.
I think if everyone in the room, except for you, says that you've never heard of that, we're not gaslighting you.
And Google.
Yeah, even Google was like, what? I'm not...
No, it did, and it added on minimum wage. So I didn't even get the full
Yeah, but
thing
you've been on YouTube
slang.
a hot minute. I bet that you've already established that as a catchphrase in your past YouTubing day. And you're like, my holiday to LA vlog. So, you know, how long have we been working together? Because we first met 2019, 2020?
I would say 2018.
Maybe. Oh yeah, because you won lip sync the same year as me, didn't you? Because I won it in April.
How many seasons before did you win?
You won 7, didn't I? So only 2, because I won, and then Baby, who's doing a lot better than us. Baby won, and then you won.
Although you did beat Cheryl Hole. They were all popping off at Lip Sync for Your Life at Bar Revenge.
Except for us.
Except for us.
Here we are with our...
I was against Pickle.
our flat Pepsi Max.
I've added a bit of body tomorrow. I don't know what you're talking about.
Shit, yeah, she's on we've got another episode to film after this. You're not even going to make it, girl.
No, we're doing these all on separate days.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't tell from our makeup being the identically same.
Also, your makeup's the same every time anyway. Also, for those people
That's
watching...
what you get for just putting a Sharpie on.
Mm-hmm. For people watching on camera, my makeup is clapped. No, we'll have to forgive it because this is I've been in drag since 10
You
a.m.
look the same.
Wow, that's a fucking read. Okay, bitch. You look the same. You're saying a dog's dinner?
I think you look lovely.
Oh, no.
Not so up close, which is gross.
Just blinded on my wig. Now, yeah, because we met... So there's this competition in Brighton, people don't know, called Lip Sync for Your Life. And they run it 3 times a year, and I won in the April. So you would have won about like November, December time?
I won in the winter, yeah.
And I remember messaging you and being like, well,
welcome to the winner's circle. I was like, who's this bitch?
But the thing is, like, when you're starting in drag, now I'm like, oh, lip sync is like... I mean, I guess it did springboard both our careers in a way, because it got us on like the radar for Revenge. It got us a lot of work.
Well, it didn't help me with Revenge until I did All Stars.
All Stars, yeah.
And then All Stars, I accidentally had a vagina reveal. So I was performing to All You Ladies Pop Your Pussies Like This, and just as I squat just to do that bit, my leotard just like comes out completely. Full vagina out. I don't know what people can see because I wasn't wearing underwear. I was just wearing like 2 pairs of tights.
What a perfect illusion.
I was like, the dolls are out tonight.
Also, now in that respect, knowing your Findom past, I didn't even believe that was an accident. That was staged, mama.
Well, everyone, I came off stage being like, that's it, my career's fucking over.
Well, and
everyone was like, oh, I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it was perfectly timed to the lyrics.
Oh, I mean, good for you.
But I didn't
intuition,
know how much people could see, like, at all. Like, and the lights were like blinding me, and I literally was like, do I cover it? Do I enhance it? Like, I was like, what do I do?
Not enhance. Anubis taught me about this face tune. Not that Anubis or I would ever face tune our pictures, but Anubis taught me about this face tuning site called enhance.io. So like once you've done the face tune, you then put it on the better site. It turns it super high resolution.
Why is it always .io? What does that mean?
I don't know. Maybe it's like international official or something would be my guess. Because obviously like .com is like registered to US and like .co.uk and like. I feel like all like .en for like Spanish, you
Asking
know.
the really important and groundbreaking questions here.
This is giving a versatility. Well, so the thing is, part of this reason we were doing this podcast is because we were like the gag. We really loved it. We did review season 13 and I think it did really well for us.
Watch up below, above.
Watch the backlog. No, I think it did really well for us because we're in the middle of lockdown. So because my housemate kept going to London, so we formed the bubbles. We could film. Sometimes we could film together, and sometimes we couldn't. But it gave us a lot of like purpose to do lockdown and drag. So everyone was really struggling just to be like, let me put on a wig, but like give us some new looks.
Digital drag was a tough time. I wish we will never go back to
Scarlet Fever makes a difference.
There's some people that are still doing it.
Yeah. And
Wait, am I still a digital queen?
We're telling you. Yeah.
Oh,
Daphne's been on a hiatus while she films Camp Wanakiki season 8.
Yeah, that's where I've been.
Mum's the word. Which I wonder if they can hear. Can you guys hear this?
Probably.
I keep saying.
Close to the mic.
Yeah, that's the point. If I do it over here.
Just make this an ASMR channel. Would you?
Well, I said I really want to start filming ASMR.
Would you really like that? Oh my god.
Clever,
yeah,
isn't it?
that's
branding.
because it's like your name.
Yeah, and I was like, I'd just say things. It would just be things you hear in the gay clubs, like, "Hey, you look sickening tonight. Can you please buy a shot for me because Josie's really lowered the commission rates and I could do them."
We must be in Club Revenge because water's pouring on me right now.
I'm like, I think my sweat. I was like, sorry. It's been a dewy day. It's a dewy finish foundation.
Although they have fixed that lovely water feature that they used to have.
Remember, if you went to Niagara Falls, you'd be like, turn it off, it's too wet.
I always
know?
think it's in an all-inclusive. It's hot, you get a water show. Like...
When are you going to? Where are you going? Bali with your mum?
God, no, I can't afford that. I think we're going Tenerife.
Nice.
Go Tenerife.
Go on. Hopefully one day. I'm really struggling.
Should we go on holiday?
What? But we'll take a break from the gag. We could never.
That'd be really lovely.
As if we didn't take a year and a half. We're like, and I remember at the end of the last episode, we're like, "Oh, do you guys want to see a podcast?"
Should we just do a podcast?
And then the 8 of you that were like consistently following were like, "Yeah!" And then we're like, "Oh, we'll see in 2020."
And we had Zagleb or whatever his name was saying, "Hey."
And there would always be like random strangers. We're like, I've only just started watching this, but I'm a past follower of Daphne's old out of drag YouTube, and everything Tayris says is wrong.
Astrich Ellen.
I didn't want to know if you, before the recording, you scolded me for giving up the government name. You're like, don't reveal my secret identity.
So, when we first met, what was your first impression of me? Because my first impression of you was the welcome to the winner's circle. And I honestly thought that this bitch was...
What?
Put together.
Again, now I know you're lying.
But...
I was not put together. None of us were put together.
But at the same time, I was like, ooh. Who's this bitch? Because you came on very strong when I first met you, and I felt like when we first like properly hung out, you had your friend Eric with you. It's just like randomly turned up, and you never told me that this was happening, and so I was kind of just like, "Hi, you're right," and like, "Oh, I've started drag," and you were just full on with, "Oh, this fucking bitch Eric here," and blah 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 blah, and like doing a whole fucking podcast already.
Well, the thing is, I think, firstly, the Eric thing is because at the time, I don't remember this, but they were transitioning, and they've since detransitioned. But, because and obviously, because you were like, for anyone who doesn't know at home, Daphne was like...
Tranny.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't, not my choice of words. But Daphne, or the voice actor who plays Daphne, is like really internationally known for being like such a, at least nationally known for being the first like child they like transition in the UK, like before adulthood. So obviously they really wanted to like hang out with you too, and I was like, I'm not gonna be like, well no, I'm hanging out with Daphne and you can have your turn. Bog off, Eric. We also might do a separate Tracy Beaker segment on the pod.
My God, please! I say a whole episode. Any TV fans?
Come on below. Come on.
TB and TS fans.
Yeah. I'm not doing this one. Tracy Black. Well, we should do a whole episode. Is Duke and Shelley?
Oh my god, what was the lovely bubbly
porridge?
Let's do a whole Life is a Cabaret episode.
Or
Let's
Eric-
do that as a 2-woman show.
There used to be this
Big Fag and Little Hag once again.
Years ago, I pitched together a two-handed show, way pre the gag. It's called Big Fag, Little Hag, and then I was like, I don't want to be Daphne. It's like,
We were gonna have like a big TV,
yeah,
and we were just gonna do CBBC shows.
and it was at the Carolina Brunswick, which you know is something else. But no, I think when I first met you, I think I'm definitely always somebody where like, I don't know, I attune to whether I have a good connection or like I will find that person enjoyable very quickly. It's why I find it really interesting when people continue to go on dates, and I did this recently, but continue to go on dates with people that
you led on that guy for about.
I didn't lead him on. We went on 3 dates, and for the first 2, I was like, oh, I don't know if I like him. But by the end of the 3rd, I was like, I don't like him. I'm really sorry if you're watching, Will. But
yeah, I know.
I don't think I will. Well, it's because he came from money. Well, listen, we'll say that from a dating episode.
Yeah.
But no, and I think, especially like in the
Massachusetts guy came from money, and he came for money too.
Well, I wasn't paying him anything, no income, but also
sugar.
But so that it was a different time. I was like, yeah, that was a good vibe. How old am I now? 21. So that's like 3 years ago. What, 11?
21.
Because when was our first like proper gig together? Was it when you started working at Revenge?
I think it was, yeah. I remember my first night ever working at Revenge, you were there.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember you had just cut your first pair of hip pads. And I remember you walking down the stairs and I was like...
I remember I was
ready to turn it and burn it.
I was wearing the pink dress from Collective with the red braids.
Oh god, you were wearing that horrible grapefruit dress.
No, that slaps.
With your red braids.
Don't speak ill of the grapefruit. No, not that Collective dress. The other one, the little like just simple pink one.
Yeah. There's
a photo that was archived on Instagram of me and Joseph Harwood and that. Listen, maybe that's YouTube clout we can maybe get at the Baron. No.
I don't think that YouTube clout has worked for many years. I remember they came up to me when I was doing guest list one time, and they were like, "It's Joseph Harwood, it's me," and I was like, "You're not on the list."
I know you are.
It's me.
I'm choosing to ignore it.
And then every single week they would say that they either have a Boohoo campaign coming out or a Misguided campaign coming out, but they would flip between the two.
They always tell me that they're
very legit.
Oh, this is so problematic. I don't know if you say that. Oh, I'm going to say it. We're invested now. It's the gag. We go crazy. We go hard. Crazy. They always tell me that they're half black. I don't know, a quarter black, something, and they always tell me about their cousins, and they do like the yardie, saying like, yeah, you know what's going on, and then I'm like, I'm not going to get involved. I'm just going to politely laugh.
I'm like,
because I don't know that to not be true. I mean, I'm black, but like I'm very much.
But I feel
talk like a white boy.
If you're white passing, then just.
Yeah, maybe don't.
It's just it's not.
I think it's an attempt to relate though, because I find like, especially you'll probably agree, in drag, I think. I present not only like socially and politically and aesthetically, just in general, a lot more black than when I'm out of drag, like before. I think my drag has definitely been a vessel for me to connect to my heritage.
I don't want to judge whether or not you're black or not.
No, that's fine. Okay, well, at least aesthetically, I dress like a white boy. Like I wear like nice.
Oh yeah, you're not wearing your braids outside of drag.
Yeah,
it's your natural hair, Mama.
A wig. No, yeah, but we had some good gigs together. Like, remember. Sleep Runners.
Oh, don't.
We did this gig. So, if you want to steal, icon, fucking legend, I'll most likely wear her Dalmatian print jumpsuit she made me at some point during the pod. No, it's right, it still fits. But, so we covered this gig. I covered this gig for her once.
I wasn't even performing. I was just doing tech, which I got a whole £1.50 for.
So it's spoilers. No, so basically sleep paralysis. It's like door split. So when you're first coming up in the scene, if anyone that isn't like a drag queen, like you can't really expect to get like just solid booking fees. Like now, where you are both at the point where we're lucky enough that like if the gig's not paying well enough, we can just decline it. When you're first coming up, you do have to. There's a bit of like was it earning your salt?
I remember 30 quid was like oh my god, I'm getting 30 quid for this. So, for 3 numbers, 10 quid a number, Jesus Christ.
Honestly. And now I'm like, you want 80 quid for 1 number? Stuff it. But so...
Now I just do numbers and I pay the promoters 80 quid. Like, please let me in your show, please.
So, I remember it was so poorly timed as well, because it was every 3rd Sunday of the month, and whatever year it was like 3 or 4 days before Christmas, so no one's got money because everyone's just spent it on prezzies and whatever.
I don't think at sleep paralysis that makes a difference.
Hello.
I think
Daphne Marie, the 10-year-old.
I mean, year round, it has a humble audience.
AKA Bonnie the babysitter, AKA Gertrude the go-getter, AKA Baron Karen. AKA...
I still wish I kept that name.
AKA...
If you didn't know, Baron Karen was my original drag name until some schmackhead nana came up to me in the smoky area and was like, that's disgusting. I was like, well, you can tell that's my non-existent uterus.
I wish you still had Daphne the 10-year-old. Because I won't say who, but there was another queen in London, and you were both like the kiddie queen.
No, they were like, hey, I love how we're both kiddie queens. And I was like, oh, automatically hate this.
Doing your Findom.
And I had to give up. I don't know why, but when I first started drag, I used to go to the clubs and I used to tell like the bouncers and stuff I was 10. I used to think that was the funniest thing in the world for some reason. So my drag name was definitely the 10-year-old. And then it got to a point where like my tits kept on getting like further and further out of my outfits, and I was like, I can't go on and be like, I'm 10. I mean, I never pretended to be a child, although I remember I was so nervous on my first heat of lip sync that I handed my USB to the then host Rose Gold, and I was like,
oh God, was Rose, wasn't it? Yeah, for you.
Here's my homework. So cringy.
That's really sweet. Well, you won the heat though, isn't it?
Yeah, one and done.
Yeah, so the sleep paralysis.
More we can say for some.
I only took 2. Some of these people have been doing it, ain't that Alec? Like what, 5 times? And still no win. No, but so we were, it was like the sleep one before Christmas, and Fuchsia's like, oh, I'm away, can you cover it for me? I was like, yeah. So it's down the sleep paralysis show. There's somewhere between 10 and, you know, a really popping one's like got 30-ish people. So we get there. So it's me, Calypso at the time, so Mandrake. Who else was it? Connor and I can't remember. Oh, HP Love Shaft. Oh, I wonder if they're still doing drag. Who's on a national tour, and that was the
last stop of their national tour, and they were like, "Come on, put my badges down. I want to sell my badges."
So then we get there, and
not being told anything at all. Not being told how to work the microphone, how to turn on the tech, nothing at all. So we had to like try and like figure it out. The venue didn't give a shit because they don't give a shit.
The thing is, a lot of shows happen at Carolina Brunswick, which turns out because the venue's free to hire. So like if you're trying to create a new show, like trying to trial some new work, it's
and you're a big
really
fan of a workspace with carpet as well.
And they got rid of the mirror, but they used to have a giant mirror on the back of the stage,
and you could just always see this like permanent hand smear going down this mirror all the time.
And you turn to the back to like break up the song, whatever, and then people would still be making eye contact with you in the mirror.
2 people in the audience you would see.
So yeah, the sleep paralysis. You got there, and there were 2 people in the audience. One, Brighton, a fucking icon legend, Tarantula.
And
they were still going by the old drag name.
Ruby Porcelain.
Yeah, and then someone else who we'll come back to in a moment. But so I literally went up to Daphne and I go, okay, I've planned all these serious numbers. Scrap everything. I'm going to start off with Duck Duck Goose by Cupcakes. I need to get this for me. And I remember at the end I did sing a ballad just to try it out. I was like, and then the mic was so janked. I was like, don't worry, it's quiet enough in here that I'm going to be heard. I'm just going to sing it. I'm going to sing it without the mic. I'm just going to project. I have a theatre background. I can project, mama. No, but it was just diabolical. And I felt especially bad for Mandrake, because I think the production they brought to their numbers, it was like 3 different numbers, 2 different looks.
They're like an incredible like belly dancer, and everything's like very well thought through, and like always like great act.
So
not the kind of act that you can just like do on the fly. Like you need to have a full audience there to like really appreciate it.
And it was a cackle though. And I remember getting there, and so there's these 2 people. Also, this open mic, who I assume is Quick Drag, because I've never seen them again since.
I think I still follow them on Instagram, to be honest. So I hope they don't watch this.
So they were like, oh, I'm doing They were like, hold on.
They came and they got their little recorder out, and they were like, I'm going to be doing some spoken word with some recorder.
Dedicated to the fact they said, I want to do drag because I want to make more friends. I was like, oh, listen, I'm not how Daphne and I met. And they were like, oh, I've only really got one friend, but they're coming today, and the friend didn't come.
I'm so excited, and then they just never showed.
And he said there's always one open mic act, so you only have to do one number, and that was them. And I know, like, you should support all drag. I was cackling. So basically, they were doing a spoken word piece, but with like interjections of this recorder. So they would be like, I actually remember the verbatim first 2 lines. I think about it all the time. It's like, my whole life I've been trapped. A bird in a cage. And I was obviously looking off stage, like, not for these 2 people. And then Shangshula, who used to work at Co-op, I don't know if she still, maybe she still does.
No, waitress.
Oh, wait, oh, but
Don't
bourgeois.
slack her down.
She was like, oh, I brought these sandwiches from work. So I was passing out food to the cast. And then there was this person who was at my first ever heated lip sync, called Hercules Honey. And they came up to me and we were talking about it. I was like, oh yeah, I was there. Da, da, da. And they're like, halfway through the show, like, can I do a number? And I was like...
No, didn't ask first.
No, they asked me. They just didn't ask you.
They came up to me, grabbed their grubby little mitts on my laptop and just started getting up on YouTube some instrumental to, like, this song.
Master and Servant.
And she was wearing a leather jacket. Well, I don't know. They were wearing this leather jacket and they did this song about, like, dominatrix. It's about my Findom days.
It's all full circle, isn't it? Like...
And they, like... they were getting really nervous about the fact that they were performing, and they set up an Instagram there and then and like posted a picture and being like, oh, pre-show nerves. And like, this person's literally just wandered into the Carolina Brunswick not even knowing that. I think that's so iconic. I don't know if she knew that they knew that this show was happening, and so they just kind of wandered in, because like the way that they walked in was very much like, oh, what's happening here?
Well, so like no one's here, what's happening? But I think that takes nerve. Like, do you ever hear about how Kiki told me this, how she got booked for Bougie Shag Brunch?
She just wandered on the stage.
Pretty much. So Kiki Snacks, if you don't know her, so fucking incredible. Like, I would arguably say, like, easy top 5 best lip syncers in London. I think they're so incredible. But they went to Bougie Drag Brunch in drag, like just in the audience with their friends. And they went up to Kevin Milsom, who's personally runs it, and was like, hey Gorge, how are you? And they're like, oh, good, thank you. Like, here's my USB. I'm going to do a number. And he was like, oh, it's like, yeah, just to prove you, I just want to show it, I'm going to do a number. And he's like, okay, work.
Wow.
Put it in, obviously, she's so fucking incredible. She just turned in. It was like, oh, mama. I was like, the fucking nerve it takes to get to the gig and be like, I'm doing a number today. And I'm like, you better
here's
fucking
my homework.
Can you imagine if he was like, imagine if you were diabolical? Because I know this is going to be a couple of listeners. I know bloody Aurora's going to then turn up to like Bougie, like, here's my number, sugar. If you're listening, Aurora, Max Love, you stand.
Yeah, you didn't just call them terrible.
No, I didn't say they were terrible.
But hey, with Steve Homewrecker.
Yeah, well, we don't talk about that. Let's save it for another episode.
So this performance was happening, and I distinctly remember Tarantula laid down on all of the seats, and just as it was a little bit quiet during the performance, she just went, I'm doing this, by the way, to bulk out the audience.
I was like, oh no. And then I remember it's one of those shows with like 3 separate acts and like 2 intermissions. And at the end of the second intermission, I was like, where the fuck is Daphne? And she came back, and I was like, where have you been? And she was like, I'm really sorry, girl. I just had to go have a blunt. Like, this was
I literally just sat in the car park and had a blunt. I was like, I can't go through this. I can't do this.
And again, that takes equally as much nerve, mama. Cunt shit.
That's high drag.
But the thing is, and I always say, like, I think I love bad gigs. Like, a real good gig. I just want to do it. No, now this is going to get taken down. Because I sound so much like Cobra. No,
it's uncanny.
Uncanny. So I always think, I love good gigs, but I would not be as good a drag queen as I am, and you must feel the same about yourself if it wasn't for the horrid gigs you have to get through.
I feel like we say this all the time, but as a rite of passage, as a Brighton queen, you need to do a show at the Carolina Brunswick.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to hear your heels going across the carpet.
You need to hear your own bated breath.
Yes, yeah, when you can physically hear the person miming their words as they go. You know that's a fucking lit show at the Caroline.
I was doing that earlier for like 10 seconds of my song. I do this brunch in Waterloo called Pop Icons. It's me as Beyonce, Paviola as Britney Spears, like the most gorgeous, incredible Britney Spears impersonator. And
honestly,
she looks,
Derek Bowie could never.
Yeah, and could never. And Poppycock is Gaga. And I came up for my first number, and I was like doing the like thingy. Obviously, the music's so loud that only I can hear me. I suddenly clocked like, why the fuck am I saying it? I was going like, call Becky with the good hair, Coachella.
See, I would pay to just unplug that microphone and just let you have at it.
Thank you so much for having us once again. I was like, what am I doing? It's as soon as I was like, Coachella. And I was like, no, because I say that to myself in my head. Don't say it out loud. No, but I feel very lucky to like now be at the place where I mostly do good gigs. And you still get some corkers.
It's nice to do gigs and not be reminded that we're total tubbies as well, because there was this one time that I don't think we did it together, but we definitely both did this gig, and it was called
Fat Cabaret.
Fat Cabaret. I completely forgot the name for a second there. I mean,
and also in their defense,
titles in the name. Like.
In their defense, you have to contact them, like, because they don't just slide into your DMs and be like, "You look large."
They did for me.
Yeah, but
because they did a trans edition, and they were like, "I guess you're kind of tubby. Why don't you do it?"
Fats.
Trans fats.
Really clever name. You gotta work for that.
The hashtags for these shows that they used to do.
It was like one of those things where, like, I'm a big fan of Lizzo. I love being body posy, but like, and some days when they tag you and stuff, like, and you're in the mood, and you're like, oh yeah, wow, like, yeah, look what I'm doing.
Embrace it, yeah.
But like, if you're having a shit day, and then they post some like promotion stuff for you, I mean, they put one of me, and it was like, oh, here's our fat ambassador, Tayris. Hashtag, it was for the show Fatty New Year. And they said, hashtag fatty fat fat, hashtag who ate all the pies. And I was just like, oh, I really didn't need this today. I really didn't need this today.
Who's that big fat bastard? Hashtag come to our show.
But no, I love the rider at a Fat Cabaret gig.
Girl, too much. Too much. Like stacks of donuts, yum yums.
I remember my first one, they had a bowl of jelly. And I was like...
I was coming off stage and grabbing some jelly.
And obviously, even when they bring Rue girls to revenge, they get like some Pringles and some Satsumas, which only baggy shits will eat. I don't understand why they insist on the Satsumas.
I remember one time Bob the drag queen came and had a chicken wrap, didn't eat it, and it was there for, I shit you not, 4 months. And it just kept like, it was repulsive smell. It was when they were doing like the work up there, and so they were like, is this just the smell of sawdust? We don't know. So they just left it. But my god, that was potent.
Work. No, it was camp though. It was camp.
But there was one time at Fat Cabaret where I was in a really, really bad mood, and I really regret this. But there was a time where I was sitting there doing my makeup. No one was really talking to me, and I think it's because I just started working at Revenge and they were slagging off like mainstream drag in like Brighton at the time, and so I was kind of just a bit like, yeah, lol, hate it as well. And they all started complaining that they all had heartburn and stuff, and I don't know what came over me, but I just went, probably all the donuts you're eating. Sitting there, fat as hell as well, got no right to speak, and as if I just have 10 donuts before coming in there.
You just sit in the privacy of your own home.
That was my villain era.
No, and who did those shows? There was Smashlin.
Chubrub was the host.
Oh, yeah.
Hun, Mega Hun.
I had Lady Blue Phoenix, one of them, and Smashlin, who is like, for those who don't know them, so iconic. I just think I really want them on Dragula. Like, I think they're so incredible.
My favourite memory
intense.
of Smashlin was they did the pageant, and it was the one year that I did it, and I walked in, and they were doing their eyeliner, and it was like this like little like rickety caravan like type thing, and I like smudged, like, as like me, big heifer walking in, it like smudged their makeup, and they were like, oi, don't smudge my makeup. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I think I called them bitch. I was like, oh, sorry, bitch. And they were like, you really shouldn't say that to people that you don't know their gender. I was like, okay, so sorry. And then later on that night, as they were being introduced on the pageant stage, they looked lovely, gorgeous, glamorous, and they just grabbed the mic and they just went, Brighton, what is your profession? Like a fucking stag do host.
So, and they're so talented as well. Like, one of those people, like, they breathe fire, they become a fat crabat. Their word is not mine.
Fatney Spears.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. They also have fat bookshelf. They deserve fat bookshelf number. And wait, versatility. We need to get more of that.
Honestly.
We need more skills.
Mega
That's what I need. We need more skills in drag. Like, I don't know, I feel like I'm a jack of all. I say I'm a jack of all trades, master of most. But I feel like everything I can do to the level where, like,
I can do that.
Yeah, I can do that. I do a tap on my gap. It's impressive to the people who can't do it. So, like, I do this tap dancing number, if anyone doesn't know, like Step in Time. So I like live sing the first half, and I run off, and there's maybe like 12 seconds of music, and then I change from my heels to my tap shoes. I lip sync and tap the second half, and it like is probably my biggest money maker number. Like, it blows people's minds. But I'm like, the level of tap I'm doing is actually really rudimentary.
Do you know what you should do? You should get a tip from another Brighton queen and just record yourself tap dancing, use the audio, and then...
You've already said their name. We've already said their name this episode. Go on, say their names. No, we love you, Scarlett. I hope she listens.
I don't think she will.
I don't know. She's got stuff going on, yeah. She's got her dog. How's Maggie? If anyone doesn't know, Daphne has a cat, Maggie.
So since we last saw each other, I do now have a child. It was a tough birth, very hairy, but she's gorgeous. Like, if I just look at her,
that's so grotesque.
I just look at her in her eyes every day and go, "Mummy wants kiss," and then she gives me kisses. Oh, it's just, I fucking love her.
And the thing is, I've
Get her on the pod. Me, ouch.
We have the same. So I'm also. No, not by the time this episode comes out. By the time you hear episode 2, I'll have a snake, which is so. I don't know why you're arousing me, bitch. So you're gonna meet.
What are you calling it? Snivelsworth? What was it?
Collins.
Oh yeah, Collins.
So you hear what you want to hear. Snivelsworth. That sounds like some sort of horror like.
Wasn't it like Lord Collins though at some
No.
point? There was a regality. I'm not just coming up with that.
Yeah, snakes just have that aura. Speaking of aura, that's very Alice and Tracy Beaker, isn't it? Like, I'm reading your aura.
Shout out if you want a Tracy Beaker exclusive episode.
Listen, they don't even shout out, nigga. They're getting it. They get what they're given. No?
Should we both do our looks from Life as a Cabaret? I'll be Cam.
You be Cam. I'll be Elaine in her pretty pink dress.
Yeah, pretty pink dress.
We used to this person called Amro at school. And I only had 2 interactions with him. One was in PE, and Eric and I would always sing Pretty Pink Dress during our football lessons because we were gay. And and whenever he was like playing football and dribbling the ball, we'd be like, "No, Amro, stop! We're gonna ruin your pretty pink dress." And we're like, "Shut up!" And we're like, "What with the Gallus?" And the other one was that, and I wasn't there, but Mara Gomez came, who I used to be really good friends with, and now she's Jehovah, so she doesn't speak to me anymore because I'm gay.
Oh.
But no, it's okay. I've got other things. Of got Daphne instead, some yin and yang. But she said they were in psychology together, and he had a big spot that like some of the cool kids were laughing at him about, and then his way of like retaliating was to squeeze the spot and wipe it on the psychology textbooks and throw it at them. And the teacher, Mr. Kane, binned it. But I was like. That's biological warfare.
Him.
I'll get you his number.
But gorgeous. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, we've had such a good natter
We've had a lovely little natter.
Well, we're coming out every Monday on the pod, and should we do every Wednesday for the video?
Yeah, go on then. We haven't discussed it, but yeah, go on.
It's canon now, we could have done that.
We put it into the universe.
Yeah, we manifested.
Thank you so much for watching / listening. We love you lots and lots.
Thank you for tolerating the 1.5 wait between the end of season 13. Us been like, "Do you want a podcast?" And everyone's saying yes. We're like, "Well, you're not getting it.
You're not got it.
I ain't got it.
You're not got it."
I've been Tayris.
I've been Daphne.
And we've both been Hunnies. We're going to see you next week. Oh, I wish I had tits. What are you talking about? They're lovely and humble.
Oh, shut up.